Mohammed, a happy new year to you and yours. I wish you all the best for this 2026. Thank you so much for always choosing us every morning. And I am MFA Akosiadati. Joining me this morning for the news review in tackling a lot of matters arising is Awal Mohammed, member of New Patriotic Party Communications Team, and Godwin Ayaba Mahama, Corporate Affairs Officer, Thermal Oil Refinery and Government Spokesperson. A little later, we shall be joined by lawyer Vicky Bright later. But for now, we'll start the conversation. Gentlemen, Happy New Year.
Thanks, my dear.
Awal.
Happy returns.
Did any of your Christian friends invite you for Jollof?
No.
They didn't?
No.
Salah will come. That's Salah comes.
But I had a lot of wishes. I had a lot of... some even sent me Momo.
Then
Yes. Some even sent me Momo. Interestingly, some of them are even NDC people. Yes.
The Jollof would have just been a book.
It would have
exactly.
At least for the money.
Yeah.
How much was it?
How are you ending somebody's Momo?
I'm not disclosing.
So I can take my share.
How would you want to enter his Momo account?
You didn't even give me anyone.
It's the start of the 2026. A lot has been happening. I mean, I think nearly the whole world is quite shocked about Trump's decision to want to enter into a sovereign country. We'll talk about that. But back here home, the year has started. How is it looking for the government? What are your expectations generally?
Thank you so much, and good morning, cherished viewers, and my brother, and Happy New Year to all Ghanaians. I think we expect nothing more than implementation of what is in the 2026 budget, which has started in earnest. You know, first of this month, we were slapped with the 9% increment in electricity and the 15%. Apart from that, they have rolled out a lot of policies that and programs that they believe that within this 2026 they will be able to really implement them. We expect a departure from last year, because last year the government did not spend, especially on the programs that will give a lot of the youth jobs. You know, because I had worked at a youth employment before, so anytime I look into any budget, I look at opportunities for the youth. Last year, the government budgeted 300 million Ghana cedis for the National Apprenticeship Program. They only released 21 million Ghana cedi. They budgeted 100 million cedis for the CODES program. They didn't even release a single cedi. They still had budgeted the same amount. When you check the Nkokon Keten, that also was only launched last year. So we expect a full implementation of the Nkokon Keten this year, so that a lot of people will get opportunity. When you check the National Entrepreneurship Program, they budgeted 100 million and gave them only 35 million. And they have again budgeted 100 million for them. For the apprenticeship, they scale it down to 160. We pray and hope that even if it is 100 million that is given, a lot of the youth will get employment opportunities. So we expect that there will be a departure from last year, where the government was trying to control inflation. So the expenditure was very low. Even when you check CAPEX, the amount of money they voted into CAPEX, they didn't even do up to 50%. Goods and services, they budgeted 5.6. They were only able to really release around 2.5. So even the ministries, department, agencies were not running efficiently. So we expect that at least what is in the budget ATO will be able to spend for Ghanaians to get some respite.
Okay. Is there any single thing or anything the government did last year that particularly excited you, that you saw that was a good thing?
Well, maybe because Gordon is here, I would say the revival of Thermal Oil Refinery, which came...
If he wasn't here?
No, I'm saying that it is something that even when we entered, we were talking about it, that really Combat did so well. Even though he did not keep to his timeline, but I was happy he's able to really bring it on stream. You know, initially they said by October they should be able to start their refinery, which some of us were a bit skeptical about it. But by December, he's able to do it. So at least 2 months late, but he was able to do it. So revival of Tama oil refinery, we expect that if they do a lot of the refining, we may not import a lot. And that will also help the stability of the city. And again, we might see some reduction, even though this government do not want to give the reduction to the Ghanaian. You remember when the dollar has come down to around 10, the world market price of crude has come to around 62.58, between 58 and 62. And everything points to the fact that we could have bought the fuel for like 8 to 10 cedis per liter. But unfortunately, the government implemented the 1 cedi Dumso levy that did not really bring us down for us to get all these. So that's one of the reasons I'm saying that, well, even though I am happy that Tema Oil Refinery is coming, but I believe that we should have some cascading effect down there so that the Ghanaian will get the benefit of it. We have seen reduction in fuel prices, but last year, when you're going to Kumasi, you pay somewhere around, that is 2024, now last year will be 2025. In 2024, we pay around 100 cedis, the standard bus from Kumasi to from Accra to Kumasi. This year, yes, this year is around 120, but we've seen reduction in fuel prices. So that's the reason I certainly believe that if the Tema Oil Refinery comes on stream, maybe we will have
it will bring some
relief to Ghanaians. Yes.
Okay. At least, well, I'm certain that the government watching today will be quite excited because none other than Awal has praised them, has praised them about something. I'll come to you shortly, but maybe let me come to you, Godwin, first of all. Godwin, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How did the year end for you, and how was it starting for you this year? Of course, we've seen tour, but personally, how did it end for you last year?
Let me say a very good morning to you and my co-panelists. Last year actually ended very well.
Okay.
Particularly when it comes to the revival of Tema Oil Refinery, because it has been one of the companies that Ghanaians are so much interested in, because should TOR be able to stand on its feet, there is that tendency that Ghanaians are going to get a full benefit when it comes to energy security and reduction in terms of prices of finished products. So Ghanaians have always followed keenly when it comes to the journey of Tema Oil Refinery. So I was so excited that the year ended with Tema Oil Refinery officially resuming operations. The fact is that we actually finished the turnaround maintenance work in October as we had communicated earlier, because the whole work started on the 1st of August, and we gave the TAM team 3 months to finish in October 31st, which indeed they did. What actually delayed, which Awal, is that, normally when you finish, you need to write to your regulatory body, which is MPA, for them to come and do some inspections and see if you meet international engineering and safety standard. Then they can now give you the clearance to indicate that you are fit and everything is good and you can now start refining. So actually the entire work got finished within that 3 month space, but we needed that clearance before we can officially
I think that
begin.
We'll stay in the excitement, because we like to think that for a company you considered all of these things, knowing that NPA has to do this, other requirements, but you gave us an emphatic.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that because we don't know, because the other party being MPA, we don't know their schedule. You may write to them thinking maybe today, tomorrow they will come and do the assessment.
Okay.
But they equally have their internal schedule, which it must fit within their schedule. So it was out of our control. So as I said, the year ended very well for me. And on the part of the government, actually the government has done very, very, very well. Very, 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 very well. Because if you look at the country that was handed over to this current administration, I quite remember former President Akufo-Addo once said that he knows very well that Ghana is not standing well, and the new government will come and take the country out of the woes. And indeed it was true, because if you look at fuel price as at 2024, if you look at inflation as at 2024, if you look at debt to GDP as at 2024, if you look at the debt hanging on the neck of the country, and today you compare with the solid work being done by the government, you have no option than to praise the government. Because one, fuel today is being sold at averagely around 11 Ghana cedi. Debt to GDP today is moving around 45%. Today we are recording single-digit inflation. Food inflation is around 6.6%. Yes, even though I have heard people say that they are not getting the real effect of the reduction of inflation. However, what we must also know is that the system we run, because we are not running this controlled market system where the government will have to determine prices of goods and services. You know that. But what is also not in doubt is that some products, some goods and services has indeed gone down. Yes or no? So we must acknowledge the fact that all those economic figures that we are recording has had some positive effect on the goods and services of this country. I know Oliver Twist will always ask for more. We are hoping that in 2026, Ghanaians will get further benefit when it comes to the good economic records we are recording. Because if for nothing at all, the NPP handed over a government which was almost at every point in time being rated by international ratings, Moody's, Fitch, and others as a junk economy. Today we are being rated at around B+. So for me, 2025 has been correct. And going into 2026...
He referenced Fitch.
Yes. No, it's not B+.
Yeah, Moody's.
I'm saying that it's not B+. We left it as CAAA+.
You were
with positive outlook. And you are now B-. So it was just moving on a trajectory.
Yeah.
Well, you don't say B-, B+.
No, compared to
when it's B-.
Comparatively.
It's not even
but junk is definitely different from
the
rating. That's completely different. If you took an exam and you failed, it's not the same
exactly.
And the others that...
No, but we all know that the economy that was handed over to us, obviously, cannot be better than what we are enjoying today. That's what I'm trying to just express. That is an expression I am trying to make. That is what I was trying to make the point.
Let me welcome Vicky. Happy New Year. It's such an embarrassment to come and wish you here when I could have wished you personally. I hope you're well.
Better late than never. I'm very well.
Had a good Christmas.
How are you?
Very well,
I
thank
did.
you.
Quiet.
Very okay. Yeah, I think it's the best
Restful.
Christmas you can have.
Yes.
Has the year started well for you? And looking at the government and how 2025 ended, has it started quite well for you?
I think yes. I mean, let me just say a simple yes, because I think last year was all about stabilization, and I think we can fairly say that we achieved, or the government achieved that, because things were quite tough after the DDEP for everyone. All Ghanaians felt it in their homes, and businesses felt it in their businesses. So I think from that point of view, we did, or the country achieved stabilization, and debt is now under control. Both our domestic and foreign debt is under control. So I'll say that the president's first year really focused on damage control, laid down a lot of groundwork. Is stabilizing the patient or steadying the ship. You know, now we need to make the patient strong. So that is about delivery. For me, 2026 is all about delivery. And for the government to put its money where its mouth is, because I believe that delivery is what will now define President Mahama's next 3 years in office, to be honest. We're looking for jobs. We're looking for productivity. We're looking for visible institutional reforms. I would say that the youth in some quarters feel that they have renewed hope. What they now want are real jobs and skills, not the temporary kind of makeshift job, but real permanent jobs and skills, and a chance really to build the future for themselves. So I would say that stability has brought our president a lot of goodwill and some time. But I think year 2 will show Ghanaians how he chooses to use that goodwill and time, because political goodwill, as we know, can just disappear like that. So I would like to think that he'll continue to build on that. And Ghanaians have high expectations. Ghanaians have very high expectations. I'd like to think that there are exciting times ahead. What I want to see is a lower cost of living, and as I said, this, jobs, especially for our youth. A lot of them have got qualifications and they are sitting at home or doing something that really they shouldn't be doing because they are overqualified for those jobs. I want to see action on corruption. We want some tangible results on that front. We want an intensifying of the fight against Galamsey. We want people to be brought to book, irrespective of which political party they are affiliated with or who they are in our society. Because we all know, we spent most of last year talking about Galamsey,
yeah.
And here we are in 2026. I'm not sure we've even made a dent in winning the fight. So I would like to see something seriously done on that, a serious Galamsey fight. We need to protect our water bodies, consistent enforcement, and protection of our farming communities, and clear alternative livelihoods for the affected,
Vicky, in all of these expectations, which one do you think the government should start with first? What should be the focus, especially because before you came in, Awal had drawn our attention to the fact that government was really not spending last year, and even the budgetary allocations that they would have spent in creating jobs, they didn't spend much. As of the last quarter last year, the Ghana Statistical Service said that 1.3 million young people were not employed or underemployed. That's a very huge number. Where should the government, you've also just mentioned it as well, but there's also Galamsey. There's also how things will really reflect on the cost of living for people. But the government is also saddled with scarce resources, right? So they have to prioritize and choose the one that it can start with. Which one would you think the government should start with?
I think for me, jobs and Galamsey, I would pair them. It doesn't have to be one or the other because our problems are many in this country. And so if we're going to prioritize something, I would put those two as a joint first, to be honest. Okay. Jobs and Galamsey, because there's no point in creating jobs if we are killing people, So we have to do both. And the youth are the future of this nation. And they are so precious to Ghana's very survival. And so I would say that let's look after our youth. Let's better protect them. And the renewed hope that they have found, let's make it real.
Galamsey hasn't ended, but how would you rate the government's performance?
I think the government has shown a true willingness to tackle Galamsey. They have shown, we have seen, some of the initiatives that they have introduced to tackle Galamsey. What I would like to see is we need to actually we need to make scapegoats out of some of these people, because we all know that it's not the people who are rounded up at the pits who are the problem. Yeah. It's the power behind the throne, as it were. It's those guys, the unseen faces, the cowards, whose faces remain unseen to Ghanaians, who are hiding behind these people, who are frankly pawns in the game. They are just pawns being utilized by some very powerful people. So if the government really brings to book some of those powerful people, it will eradicate Galamsey. Because some of these people feel they are untouchable. And really, why would they not feel they are untouchable? We haven't really seen anybody huge, whether politically or a businessman or whoever, huge, that is behind Galamsey, that has been brought to book and punished in accordance with the law. We haven't seen that. No. So if we see even one, I think it will be a huge deterrent. Otherwise, we'll just keep talking and scratching the surface.
Okay. Awal?
If it's about Galamsey, I think the government has really done nothing. Yes, that I can say emphatic. Because you see, what are they doing differently that was not happening in 2024? That is the question.
Doing something differently does not amount to doing nothing.
So what I'm saying is that in 2024, we were doing arrests. We were even burning excavators. We were jailing people to the extent that in the campaign, President Mahama told the media that if he's elected as president, the young ones that Madam is talking about, he said he will even give them amnesty to come back because there are big fishes. There are big wigs who are controlling the Galamsey. Today, in the last 1 year, this is the first time we're hearing an MP organize group of people to attack military people in a police station. What is an allegation when the video is there, is available, that as I speak, the producers can even produce it?
The video does not suggest,
I'm saying that.
It does not show the MP organizing the
if for nothing,
the riot, but
you see the interview by the 9 Months boss says that they haggled. Your reporter also corroborated that. He said they haggled for 2 hours on the field that they should remove the handcuffs from the culprits. As I speak right now, none of the people have been arrested over there. Those who made police station look unsafe for military, they were in the police station, but the place was unsafe for them. They had to take a Zongo chief to bring his car to take them away. Oscar Oforilabi, beginning of the year, the MP for our win, his chiefs slaughtered a sheep in a press conference and ostracized him from the place, said that he was giving Galamseyers concessions in forest reserve. Nothing happened to him. We heard about Yamin and Abanga. He said, oh, they should allow Yoko invite them to interview them or investigate them. What have you heard about it? Almost a year now.
Last week,
now
I spoke to the PRO for the ministry, Pakwesi Shandov, and yes. I asked these questions, and he says that they have not been left just to the wind. Of course, they are following it, and especially because the accusation is that people who are suspected people who are engaged in Galamsey are kingpins, and this means that if you're investigating it, you require various layers. You must go through thorough before you come and update the Ghanaian people.
I watched the interview. He only spoke English.
What language do you expect?
Yes. You see, because you see, Yoko will always give us updates on their investigations. Even for 1 year, the president asked you to investigate these people. You have not investigated them. That's the point, because at least we'll see the update. If for nothing at all, just arrest them or invite them after the invitation, let them go and tell the people of this country that you have done this. So that someone sitting somewhere who is a party person entering will do that. Again, the implementation of this blue water guards, as I speak right now, there are 22 people who have been employed or engaged in a Asawasi constituency. What are they doing? We don't have Galamsey there. You are only risking their lives. You're only sending...
How? How are they risking their lives?
Blue water gas in Asawasi, what are they doing there? Asawasi is in the heart of Kumasi. There's no Galamsey there. And you have recruited 20 people, 22 people. Just yesterday, I saw our MC gleefully posting the videos and said that they had 22 people from NIMOS for blue water guards. So these are people who are supposed to be in Galamsey areas so that they will be able to really track. These are people who are supposed to know the areas so that if they are leading NIMOS, they know that pass here, pass there, and so on. You're paying them 700 cedis. The person will move from Asawasi to Manson Kwanta to go and live there. Rent. I have worked with YE. In YE, what we do is that we put you in your area because you're supposed to take allowance, just like the Blue Water Guards. So I am not surprised that the board chairman of Forestry Commission granted an interview to 60 FM and told them that some of the Blue Water Guards had been compromised by the Galamseyers because they paid them 700. Then Galamseyers were able to give them 10,000 cedis. So they will not even go and show you the place. They know where they do it, but they will not go and show you the place. So you see, that's why I'm saying that when you check what this government had done in the last 1 year, they had done a lot of PR. When they arrest, they will give it to Felix. Then Felix will post it. Then Pakosi Shandong will also post it and come and grant interviews. But the real Galamsey is happening in the forest. How many people have they arrested? They told us that NIMOS had arrested 1,400 people. So out of the 1,400, you couldn't even identify a single campaign. And how many people are in court? How many people have been
respond? But let me come to Godwin. I mean, Awal has some concerns. Somebody watching would say that, yeah, legitimate concerns.
However, when it comes to the fight against Galamsey, the less said about the MPP, making any commentary about it, the better.
You are in government now, so speak to the issues.
Because they handed over a very destructive environment to this new administration. When we took over as a government, about 9 of our forest reserves was described as a no-go area for even the government. For the past 1 year, it is on record that we have been able to claim those 9 forest reserves. So it is just surprising Awal will sit here and say we've done nothing and said everything they were doing is exactly what we are doing. You had a chance, and during your era, 9 forest reserves, not even the military could enter those forest reserves. Within 1 year, we have been able to claim those forest reserves for the country. 2, during your era, all excavators that were imported into this country were not registered. They were not registered. Today, before you import excavators into this
excavators were not registered. They were not.
It's been a debate. The MPP said that they started it.
No, it wasn't.
Unless, of course, you can provide me with facts.
The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources has clearly said that.
Yeah.
The Minerals Commission has also said so. Even Forestry Commission has also corroborated that. So during your era, people were just importing excavators into this country without registering them. We didn't even know what they were going to use the excavators for, if for nothing at all. Today, before you import any excavator, you need to seek clearance from the Minerals Commission, together with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and I think the Transport Ministry. These 3 institutions would have to give you clearance before you can import excavators into this country. When it comes, and even before you do that, you need to tell them your purpose, the reason why you want to bring the excavators into this country. And when your clearance is being given to you, you don't shift from that object when the excavators are finally brought into the country. When finally lands at the ports or the shores of this country, ports and harbors then will register, and Minerals Commission will track those excavators to make sure that they will geofence the excavators. When we say geofence, basically to give it a jurisdiction where it is going to work, so that they can track anything apart from what you have been asked to do or the jurisdiction for which you are supposed to work. When you go beyond that, the excavators are recalled.
Have we done that so far? Have we?
Yes, we've done that. Yes, it is something that is.
And so far, excavators that have been imported are being used for exact purposes.
Exactly. Yes. If not, you would have heard them being recalled because they have gone beyond their geofenced area.
Okay.
Yes. It is also true that today, through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, we have declared all our water bodies a red zone area. During your era, that declaration wasn't done. It wasn't done. And you see, there are a lot of villages, should I say mushroom villages, that were created in villages purposely for mining. If you follow Erastus very well, almost every week or every 2 weeks, NIMOS will either go and invade those villages, destroy and burn everything that is there. So for anybody to tell you that we are not working, and you see, it is also a fact that through the the Water Resources Commission, about the turbidity recordings of this country in terms of our water bodies compared to 2024, this time it is better. So for anybody to tell you that the government
better,
yes, better
compared to 2024.
Yes,
I think some parts. I think the Kwenyako was recording a better.
Kwenyako was shut down under them.
But all the major water
half of Central Region didn't have water under them.
I wasn't interjecting.
So, and you're telling me it's better?
The fact that there is a shutdown of plant do not necessarily mean that its whole reason has to do with issues of Galamsey.
Ghana Water told you it's Galamsey.
No,
because he talked about turbidity. You spoke to the peer.
Let me speak.
And he said that the reason they had shut it down is because of, this is not a monologue. So they said it is turbidity of the water.
All the major water bodies, its turbidity water today are better than what you handed over to us.
How?
As I speak today, I don't have the current turbidity levels, so I'm unable.
We are.
But I just know as well that Pakwesi again will be my highest authority.
Because he's the
last person I spoke to said
yes.
that about 50% of them.
He is supposed to do PR for the government. So the only person
who verifiable.
Stanley Mate.
We're watching.
If you don't have anything contrary, if you don't have anything contrary to what the PR is talking about, you don't have to make a comment because he's the official spokesperson of the ministry.
I will go to Vicky. Vicky says that it looks like the government has demonstrated some willingness to fight Galamsey. Awal, on the other hand, thinks that this government has done nothing.
I'm coming. Let me even point out this to Awal. For the first time, the MP he was referring to,
Awal Wayne?
Yes, the MP was referring to, that MP personally made himself available to the Ghana Police Service. Yes or no?
Where?
Yes or
where? No? It's a no, because where? Which police?
I said he personally made himself available for investigation.
Which police?
Wouldn't be the other MP that was involved?
The one in
yes,
Chidiam. He went to police. He volunteered and went to the police.
No, I'm saying
the case is pending in court.
So during your time, there was no instance that even any.
There was no instance where an MP was mentioned that he is even engaged in Galamsey.
Is it all about an MP?
Yes.
It can't be all about that.
Who again? Who?
It has to be somebody who's husband.
We even saw on video one of the parliamentary candidates who had gathered Galamseyers and was speaking to them. I don't know if you remember. Oh, one of the parliamentary candidates, I've forgotten either at the Central Region.
I want to go to Vicky quickly,
yes,
so give me the information.
So tracking illegal mining, 4,000 excavators to be tracked this year. This is Daily Graphic, March 01, 2023.
So what are you trying to say?
2023.
To be.
You know, I'm saying that in 2023, that is in March 2023, Daily Graphic reported that we have started the tracking of these excavators. And again, by 2024 that you came in, we had already started the tracking. It was in place.
You
said we have never tracked.
Hang on, in tracking, are you telling me by the same mode and method, the geofencing that they say?
The same thing, I'm telling you.
So you use the same method?
Did you ever hear of geofencing under the NPP?
But you see,
did you even hear them say that after even they have tracked?
What is geofencing? You're talking about an excavator that has come into the country.
I just want
it has been registered.
Hang on. I just want specific. You provided me 2023. You said that to be.
No, I'm saying that
when a government tells me to be, I can't take it as
issue of
I'm saying that this is just a story to tell you that
you had the ideation.
No, not the idea. In 2024, I'll give you the story.
Okay.
When all the excavators.
There's 4,000 that you had.
Yes, this is 4,000 that had been identified, and they will be tracked within that year 2023. So when you came in, I listened to the Minerals Commission CEO, the one who is no longer there, who has been moved to the ministry. He said that indeed the tracking had started. He was giving these updates on Asempa every Wednesday.
Okay.
So I'm surprised that he's saying that they have started.
My point is that,
and again, you were importing more than 200 a day. To the extent that you remember,
my point is that during your era, you were not expected to take clearance before you import excavators into this country. That was my point.
That's not correct.
Today, you need clearance from
has been
3
there
different
already.
institutions.
It
is not there. It is not there.
The ministry then will come for us to make us feel that they were introducing it when it already existed.
I'm saying
it never existed under the NPP.
I mean, he's saying that.
No, it never existed. You don't expect him to say that it existed, because earlier he had made a point that we haven't done anything new, and trying to bring some of the new things we've done before him. He's just trying to tell you that all those things were being done during their era.
Okay. But can he tell us the nine forest reserves that were no-go areas? Can he list them for us? Because they've been peddling this falsehood for a longer time. List them.
Your refusal doesn't mean that it's true.
Before maybe I would stand down. List the forest reserves.
I will.
These are lies.
The Deputy Minerals Commission came. I think we call him Elembele KK. So when he came,
he provided all those evidence.
What he should provide.
You take it from him and not from
Yes, but you can speak.
The Minerals Commission is giving more of an authority.
Okay, so you can give us, right?
Sorry?
You can recall the 9.
No, I mean, why would I want to keep?
So that is the reason he's here. He's here to speak for government, and I'm challenging him that it is not true.
I'm saying
that it is not true that there were 9 areas that were no going. Tell us.
Who are you doubting?
Okay, so tell us.
Where is your counterfact? Where is your counterfact?
List them.
You cannot doubt the deputy CEO of.
I am doubting you because I didn't listen.
It is not about me.
No,
it's not about me.
No, but I'm telling you.
It is not about me.
So, MFI, you have to list them. Because
we can get the tape for you.
Exactly.
I mean, we can get the tape for you, but not because I agree that it's true or not. I can only take the person who's been mandated to tell me.
Because usually they mention some forest reserve in Ashanti region that has still been inhabited by Galamseyers. And it was corroborated by the same man.
Came up about we now taking charge of those 9 forest reserves. I haven't seen any counter argument on this matter.
Yes, because
he's just countering.
You don't expect Awal to praise the government.
How is it difficult that
he praised Tor? He didn't. Did he not?
With regards to how is it difficult for the person in talking about.
I mean, don't throw the baby away with the bathwater. If he doesn't remember, does not mean that he
can get them.
Let's not do that.
The person from the word go told you that the government has done nothing.
Okay, it's fine.
So in trying to provide to him things we have done, Vicky, you don't expect him to agree with me.
You mentioned him as government spokesperson, so you should get this information.
Well, you can't have everything.
I'll get it for you. I wouldn't think that we'll start a Galamsey conversation and have 2 political parties up in there with each other, because a lot of things are quite verifiable. I mean, how do you feel? Does the fight look winnable?
This is the problem that we have with Galamsey. You know, there are not just even Galamsey. There are certain issues that should just rise above the politics. You know, and if, whether it's NPP or NDC, if someone has done something to further the cause, the other person should be magnanimous enough to say, yes, this is a fight and we are doing, you did 2 steps, you did 2 steps. It's not that you invalidate, you know, the other person's steps. I believe that the government has shown a willingness to tackle Galamsey. But of course, we need to go further than that, because Galamsey remains a severe, unresolved national crisis and that we are all experiencing as Ghanaians. The food that we eat, our forest reserves, water bodies are being polluted daily, and you know, health, endangering lives every day. So for me, you know, in fact, this is not a political problem. This is a Ghanaian problem. And all sides of the house, everybody has to come together. Politicians, civilians, everybody, the chiefs, every Ghanaian has to join in this fight against Galamsey. Because as long as we keep pointing fingers at each other, we are not going to get anywhere with this Galamsey fight. People have died in the course of this thing. A lot of people who we don't know, and some prominent people who we know. I mean, we you know, the 8 gallant men who died. That was all part of this Galamsey fight.
Sure.
So we need to rise above politics in this discussion. And we all need to join hands to find a solution to Galamsey, because there is a solution. The fact remains, as I said earlier, that there are people, it's not faceless, there are people who are doing this thing. Galamsey doesn't do itself. Human beings are involved in it. And those guys at the mines, they are not the problem. They are just people who are trying to earn a living because they are unemployed. A lot of these young kids that you see. But, you know, where are these people, these politicians, these chiefs, these eminent businessmen, these people who are the true benefit, and some foreigners?
Do you sometimes feel that we may never win the fight against Galamsey? Do you get that
I
fear?
mean, I think a lot of Ghanaians feel that, but we can't afford to feel that way. Because if you lose hope, then you might as well forget it. It is an existential threat to this nation. We all know that and we all say that. But I'm not sure whether we feel that. Because if we do, I think we will approach the problem differently.
Let's take a trip to the US and make a detour to Venezuela. Yes.
But let me put this on record.
Sure.
The Blue Water Guard people are not paid 700 Ghana cedi as Awal was talking about. They are being paid 2,000 Ghana cedi, not 700.
This is verifiable.
Verifiable.
Where can I find it?
From the Deputy Minerals Commission. See,
But he cannot give you the list of the.
No,
he cannot give you the list of the
I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you. So you can just.
Where did you get the 700?
You can just look at it. I just asked him how much they are being paid, and that's the response he just gave to me. They are being paid 2,000 Ghana.
Okay.
Not
That's
the 700 as
what
Awal.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Not as what Awal.
That's fine.
said. I'm also requesting for the list from him. You can realize I've requested for the list.
That you have.
Yeah. So when provided, I'll give it out.
Okay.
So the tracking of excavators, indeed, we had a legislation as at 2020. There was a legislation that we put in place, and that is the one that they are implementing.
What's the name of this?
LI, I'm coming. LI to the.
Is it the same LI that allowed mining in our forest
This
reserves?
is moving earth equipments and.
No, LI what?
That is. I'm coming.
He's finding it. So while you're at it, you can give me. You can
I thought he had everything in mind when he was asking me to provide the list of those forest reserves.
I think you can
You see,
ignore
now
the
you're finding
SSS.
yourself
Let's
working.
ignore the SSS. Okay.
No.
Vicky, I'll start with you.
Minerals and mining operations tracking of earth moving and minerals equipment regulation 2020 LI 2404. LI 2404. This is. Yes, 2404. And the title is Minerals Operations
That's a long
Tracking
title,
of
right?
Earth Moving and Mining Equipments.
And you were doing that, and as of 2023,
That was the
had
law.
tracked
As of
4,000.
Yes, we have tracked 4,000.
And when you tracked it, what became of it?
But that was how we're able to really get a lot of them and bend them.
LI 2404.
LI 2404. 2404. And the title of that LI is Minerals Operations Tracking of Earth Moving and Minerals Equipments.
Okay.
Mining equipment, sorry.
Vicky, I'll start with you with the U.S. airstrike, Venezuela. Many have described this as an act of war. Trump very insisted much that no, the president was engaged in drug trafficking and other untoward activities. How do you feel about this? Many have said that is a threat to a country's sovereignty. How do you feel about it? And why must we, as Ghanaians, concern ourselves with this?
Well, I mean, obviously, waking up and seeing that a country with the most powerful military in the world has gone into another nation to remove the president is of concern to all of us. It's not the kind of thing you expect to see in this post-World War II international rules order. So I find it quite shocking. And of course, all countries are supposed to be sovereign. And so one has to worry when that kind of thing happens. Because, you know, in Ghana, let me put it this way. A lot of countries will probably be concerned. You know, now there's talk of maybe even what could happen to Cuba, for example. The US has interests in Greenland, and so on and so forth. And Greenland, of course, would have serious implications for Europe because of where it's situated, and also the fact that it's a NATO member. So these are developments that are of concern. The developments are new, and so I would say that it's important to tread with caution, not to be too inflammatory about it, and to wait and see what's really legitimacy. What we've heard are the rhetorics on the news and all of that, but I would like to hear the legal basis on which America felt that it could go into somebody's country and remove its president and bring it back to its own soil.
He gets to appear in court today, and so maybe we definitely will see that legal basis. And on top of my mind, do you see anything in terms of international law that the U.S. could actually have any form of legal basis to want to enter into the country?
I mean, it's difficult because the UN Charter is very clear. So just from that point of view, it is difficult. But then, of course, every country also has a legitimate right to defend itself. So America could argue, and I don't know what its legal argument is, that it's been threatened by what is happening with this whole the drug cartels entering into its territory and mass migration into America, etc., etc. But we do also know that there are always economic interests in these things. Venezuela does have the world's largest reserves of oil, and a particular kind of oil, which the U.S. needs. The irony is that the U.S. has the infrastructure to actually refine these oils, and Venezuela doesn't. I think they have over 300 billion barrels of oil that are untapped, and that is huge, and it's quite a big chunk of the world's, a significant percentage of the world's needs. So, and also, of course, let's not forget that China and Russia have interests there in that region. So this will give America influence in a region with significant Chinese interests in particular. So the jury is out. Here, for me, the lesson for us here in Ghana and for all of Africa is to strengthen our institutions, to come together and be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, the AU, sadly, has just become a talking shop. And I think we need to really take certain things seriously here in Africa, because you can't sit there and look at what is happening. You know, the geopolitics now is becoming very complex. It's not as simple as it used to be. So we cannot sit here in isolation and pretend that, oh, it's got nothing to do with us here in Ghana. What it is, for me, is to give an impetus to African institutions and African leaders to actually strengthen their countries and their institutions, and also practice good governance. You know, because it seems that if your institutions are weak, if you practice bad governance, if you threaten the U.S.'s interests or whatever, then you're not immune to action from a third country.
Awal, it's interesting because I do not recall during Biden's era quite intruding into the matters of Venezuela. Sometimes every now and then, elections, he will make a comment. But then if you track it back, you realize that Trump has had quite an eye on Venezuela and its activities. And then one will wonder why, in his second term and coming back, he's still back at it. How do you feel about it?
I think Biden, too, had an eye there. When you check from Trump 1, you remember he put some bounty on his head that if you are able to really get him arrested, you'll be given $25 million.
This was Biden?
Yes, no, Trump.
Trump, yes.
So Biden reviewed it to around 50 million. But it was not really pronounced like this.
Okay.
People didn't really hear about it.
You'd say it started during the Trump era.
Trump first Trump era.
Yeah.
Then Biden...
Sort of.
Exactly, but he did not also really revoke that until Trump is re-elected today, and he's now doing what he's doing. But I think this one teaches us one thing, that there is no sovereign country in the world again. And when we're reading international relations in first degree, we're told that might is always right. And we're seeing it today. Because after he did that, look at the commentaries from other countries, to the extent that UK Prime Minister is saying that he had to speak to Trump to be able to ascertain what really he went there to do before he could even make a comment about it. That's serious. You get it? So,
isn't it fair?
No, I'm saying that at least, if for nothing at all, you see that indeed the other countries are condemning what he had done. Even sitting here, Madam is trying to tell you that indeed they have flouted the international law. You cannot enter anyone's country to abduct the president and say he is going to face trial in your country. But unfortunately, it has happened today. But you see, I think it's a security failure.
On the part of Venezuela.
Yeah, exactly. Because you see, from all indications.
It's the U.S. though.
The U.S.
It's the U.S.
It is still the U.S. It is still the U.S. But how they were able to abduct him without any resistance should tell you something. I saw a video on Edugita Makuli's wall last night. And they were saying that the security around him were impoverished to the extent that some were paid as high as $10 million to be able to give tracking on where he would be at that time and so on. So that was the reason they were able to abduct him easily with his wife. It was easy. You remember Laurent Gbagbo?
Yeah.
In Cote d'Ivoire, it wasn't easy. The troops from France came, but it wasn't easy. A lot of people had to die. That was in 2011. But in Venezuela, with all their equipment and so on, and the president was abducted like a fowl in his own country, should tell you something. And everything pointed to the fact that he was even at a safe house.
Yeah.
So how did America get to the safe house without even shooting a single officer?
Honestly, I don't know why I'm not surprised. It's just America.
You get it? So that should tell you, no, you see, whatever be the case, there may be some resistance from people around him. Even here, if someone is coming to attack you in this studio, at least if for nothing at all, if they are able to pass through the security, they'll get to the producers first.
They have to get through a stomach to come.
Exactly so.
That's a big tummy.
So this is the president of a country.
Yeah.
Even in Ghana here, I don't think Trump can come and just enter Flagstaff House without any casualty. You get it? So that is my point. So I believe that because of the elections that happened in 2024 and a lot of issues around it, where he lost the elections but decided to hold on to power, because Spain, when you see their statement, they said, well, they did not even recognize him as president of that country.
The legitimacy of his presidency seems to have been in question
by a lot of the states. So his abduction came as a welcoming news to countries like Argentina and some few other allies of the West. And even the West, looking at their posture, look at the EU statement. None of them were categorical about his release or his wife's release. They were all talking about democratic consolidation so that at least you get a democratic leader there. The only people who condemned and called for his release are the East and their allies, the Chinese, Russia, and so on. So that is why some of us, when we saw Okuyeto's statement, I cringed, especially the tail end of his statement, when he called for de-escalation and the release immediately.
But why not?
Hey,
why not?
Check others. Check what the German Chancellor said. Check what the EU said. Even AU, African Union, did not call for de-escalation and his release.
What's wrong with that call?
it tells you that you are now on one side. Because now the world is divided into two. The West is saying that, well, let's have a democratic institution working. There shouldn't be any uprising in that country.
But if you don't call for his release, whilst he's still being held, how would you call for democratic institutions working? His release is very, very dependent on that, is it not?
So listen to listen to what the German Chancellor said. The legal assessment of the U.S. intervention is complex and requires careful consideration. International law remains the guiding framework. At this stage, political instability in Venezuela must be avoided. The objective is an orderly transition to elected government.
And had nothing to say about the airstrike.
Almost all the Western countries, this is what they are saying. Now, when you go to China, China is saying release him. Russia is saying release him. Ghana is saying release him. That's the point. And AU is not saying release him. Because when you read the AU statement, they all never said he should be released. Because they knew that this is someone who has impoverished his own country to the extent that the security could even leave him. So you see, Ghana has a foreign policy orientation of non-alignment. Kwame Nkrumah did not align, even though we knew he was a socialist, but did not align with the East. He said we were not looking at East and West.
The statement you have just read from the German ambassador, or with who?
Yes, German Chancellor.
The German Chancellor. Yes. Would you say that it is taking side or it is being in the middle? Because they don't talk about the airstrike at all, the abduction at all.
If you read, if you understand diplomacy and you read all these outpouring of messages and so on, you could tell who is standing.
Where is this person?
He's with America.
He's what?
Yes. Okay. He's aligning with America.
Okay.
You see, and the UK president is also aligning with America.
I want to give a few minutes to Godwin as well.
Just to conclude, I'm saying that if you check, in Ivory Coast, when it happened and they abducted the Laurent Gbagbo, what did Mill say? Zufiasem. In those days, Okujeto Ablakwa was a deputy information minister who was defending it and aligning it with our non-alignment orientation as
in very simple terms, what are you saying? He shouldn't have responded?
He should have condemned it and leave it as such and do what South Africa did, because South Africa said the Security Council will have to meet and take a decision. This is what South Africa wrote.
I think they are meeting today.
Exactly. So a lot of the countries had really written this. But if you go, then it tells us that indeed our suspicion that Russia supported President Mahama to win these elections is...
Oh dear.
You see, don't discount that, because in July, the only country President Mahama visited before the elections was Russia. And when he Nicodemously entered Russia, Daily Graphic reported that he was in Russia. Joyce Bao-Mutare said he was in Russia to translate his book into Russian language. The book he wrote in 2012. After 12 years, it's now that he's going there to do that.
Okay.
We know they are aligned with the East.
But do you have concerns with the statements as well from
fortunately, I have been sent the
9 forest reserves.
The 9 forest reserves, and let me give it to you for you to read.
No, I take it.
I want you to do that, so that Awal will know that it's a fact. We are not just
which fact?
Speaking. We are not just speaking.
Them so that we can.
For all these forest reserves under your era, not even the military could even enter. Today, at least we have been able to claim those forest
so
reserves.
that
I will, but I want to hear you.
Yeah, back to this country. However, as for these international issues, I would have to condemn it the way the minister has equally done that. If you condemn it, and you don't even go further to request for the release of the president and the wife, it speaks to that. Because what are you condemning? What have they done? They have invaded another country, arrested its president and the wife. Immediately you condemn it. You are eventually telling them to release them. So the fact that others have condemned without going further to request for their release, it's actually nothing. But when you read into it, it's virtually the same thing that he is saying. Because however, when you read the last paragraph, and this is the principle almost every sovereign nation will abide by, and that is what we must lay much emphasis on, not what Awal is reading. And I read, the government of Ghana shall remain and defend the long-standing principled position against evasion. Which country in the world?
Read the last paragraph.
It's the last paragraph I'm reading.
You know that he has given us
Nobody, Awal, he was quiet when you were making your submission. And nobody also reads the content and ignores the top and just goes to the conclusion.
The government of Ghana shall maintain and defend its long-held principled position against evasion. Which country in the world today will say it is not against evasion of their own country? Everybody will virtually speak against that.
It's a question. It's a fair question.
Ghana calls for
occupation,
immediate
colonialism,
escalation,
apartheid, and disagree for sovereignty and all forms of violation of international laws. What has actually happened is an how do I even put it? It's a violation of international law.
Yes.
Because I cannot just sit to one day realize that the president of Ghana has been taken by another country simply because of suspicion. Something you cannot substantiate. It is just an allegation. That country is a sovereign nation. Yesterday, I took my time to read some excerpts from some people. There is another school of thought that believes that it is not about what they say it is. It is about economic benefits. Because as my sister rightly said, Venezuela today has the largest deposit of oil reserves.
Yeah, not just they have the finest.
Yes, and the finest. They are holding 1/5 of the global reserves. So it is giving people the opportunity to read further meanings to what is actually happening. It is not actually about what they say it is, but it goes beyond that. For me, I don't agree. I will condemn what has happened. It is a sovereign nation. What has happened to them, should it happen to Ghana, it is not something I will agree to that. So I will agree to it today, I will agree to it tomorrow. The Minister of Foreign Affairs has indeed done what a sovereign nation should do in support of another sovereign nation.
Okay, so if you condemn and not ask for release, what does that?
Are you not reading
what I'm saying?
What you will do is you will read it yourself, but I and my team will do a fact check.
Exactly, because this one must be fact checked.
So let me forward it.
Don't worry about how.
As I said, my source is from the Deputy CEO for Minerals Commission.
And I'll say categorically that from the time it was said, we haven't said that it is otherwise. So it still stands until. And
he's the same person you also referenced.
Of course.
You also referenced. That's why I intentionally decided to request for the same document from the same person you referenced.
Him and then the ministry. That's the speaker for the ministry. They're about 9.
Okay, yeah. So we have the Jimira and Jimira Extension Forest Reserves in Ashanti region.
This is Erastus
we have the
Jimira Forest mining persists by armed gangs. Erastus Asaridonko. Jimira Forest.
We are saying
reclamation of the red area.
Forest where these are two things. Ghanaians had no opportunity to enter. Has now been claimed back to the country. What are you talking about?
Let me read that they're still there.
They are still there.
What date is
These are two. What date is it though? What date is that?
Let me check.
But also, these are two different things.
Two different things.
You ask specifically, normally I won't do this, but people are watching and they'll be interested.
Yes.
You ask specifically that there were no red zones in your era.
I didn't say that.
No, you said that.
I didn't say there were no red zones. I said they have been saying that they have reclaimed 9 red zones.
And you requested for
9 forest reserves.
You said they've been peddling it.
Yes, I said they have been peddling it.
So what's the challenge? That there were no red zones?
There were. There are still red zones. Because even the Tanonumre forests, before we left, they were red zones.
So they should provide the 9 red
and
zones.
if really the red zones are still...
Who will provide? If not the ministry or the agency, who will do so?
Let's start with the first request, which... Like I said, I'm putting on the record that I won't do that.
So that
because it's my duty to do the fact check and then we publish it.
Yes.
But he should. Then you give me the dates for that.
So Jimira and Jimira Extension Forest Reserve in Ashanti region.
That's verifiable?
Yes. Asenanyo Forest Reserve, Ashanti. Desiri Forest Reserve, Ashanti. Ofin Shelter Belt Forest Reserve, Ashanti. Afua Hills Forest Reserve, Western North. Tano Enria Forest Reserve, Western North. Aniaso East Forest Reserve, Western North. Aniaso South Forest Reserve, Western North, and Subri River Forest Reserve in the Western region.
That's the last one.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That's the last one.
9.
So these are the 9.
Okay.
These
So
are the
when
9.
you check the Tano Nia in the Western North, this is the forest that the chiefs of Awin said Oscar Ofori Labi was parceling it out for Galamseyers.
What are you trying to say?
No,
Yes.
but that was earlier in the year.
Are you agreeing?
That's why I'm asking about the
Yes.
And because you referenced my colleague, yes. I'm asking what
The
date was this?
the Jimra one is in 9th of April. 9th April.
No, but I had that interview
Oh, it's a
after
long
mine.
time.
What's that?
Yes, but I'm saying that at least you will have to fact check, as you said, so that at least you can
those 9 forest reserves
from him.
today have been claimed.
Okay. What a way to start the new year. Well, there's so much to talk about, but the time is not enough.
Admitting
We'll
that shouldn't be
continue.
a problem.
They are still mining in these areas.
It hasn't been the I'm saying claimed.
Vicky,
But if they are mining,
on Mondays.
I'm saying that they
Awal,
are still mining in these areas. I have also gotten a confirmation
Awal,
from the mining
you first said
who is
we're
telling me that they are
I
still
mean, it's
there.
something
You
to
first said
I'm
we're
saying it's not
peddling
something
lies.
to play
Yes.
with.
That's what you said.
So if there are
I
these
provided you
things
the
that are
information.
valid, we have to look
No, he
into
said
it.
as at today.
Do a fact check. So
I said
let's
we'll do a
just
fact
wait
check.
and let them
Okay, that's fine.
because if the information came from the
Erasmus would have been calling me by now and then immediately. So don't worry about that. Okay. Of
And
course,
if
the
the
fight
information
when
is
we
from
drink
the
the
Medical
water, it's not.
Commission,
We
then-
all drink the water, so yeah, we're concerned.
It's not worse.
Anyway, there's more on the show. Stay.